Charlotte Perkins Gilman was born on July 3, 1860, in Hartford, Connecticut, to Mary Fitch Westcott and Frederick Beecher Perkins. She had one brother, Thomas 80, due to a physician's advice that further pregnancies could endanger her mother's life. Her father abandoned the family during her infancy, leading to a childhood marked by poverty. Gilman's mother struggled to provide for the family, often relying on her father's aunts, who were notable figures in social reform. This instability contributed to Gilman's erratic education, attending 7 different schools over 4 years, ending at age 15. Her mother's emotional distance and restrictive parenting limited her social interactions and literary interests, but Gilman found solace in the public library, nurturing her intellectual curiosity. Much of Gilman's youth was spent in Providence, Rhode Island, where she embraced a tomboy identity and formed close friendships with boys. Despite her intelligence, she was a poor student. At 18, she enrolled in the Rhode Island School of Design, supported by her estranged father, and worked as an artist and tutor. During her time at school, Gilman developed a close relationship with Martha Luther, describing it as one of deep affection but not sexual love. Their correspondence reveals a significant emotional connection, which ended when Luther chose to marry a man, leaving Gilman heartbroken. In 1884, Gilman married Charles Stetson, and they had a daughter, Catherine, in 1885. However, the pressures of marriage and motherhood exacerbated Gilman's depression. Under Dr. Silas Weir Mitchell's rest cure, she was confined to a strict regimen that worsened her mental health. After experiencing a severe emotional crisis, she and Stetson decided to separate, a rare occurrence for the time. Following her separation, Gilman found renewed purpose in California, engaging in feminist and reformist activities. She actively participated in organizations advocating for women's rights and social change. In 1894, Gilman sent her daughter to live with her ex-husband and his new wife, demonstrating progressive views on shared parenting. After her mother's death in 1893, she returned east and married her cousin, Houghton Gilman, in 1900. Their marriage was characterized by mutual respect and support, contrasting with her first marriage. In her later years, Gilman continued to advocate for social reforms, especially regarding women's rights and mental health. She authored influential works, including The Yellow Wallpaper, which critiques the treatment of women's mental health, and The Home, its work and influence, challenging traditional gender roles. Literary contributions. Gilman's literary output included both fiction and nonfiction, making significant contributions to sociology and feminist literature. Notable works include The Yellow Wallpaper, 1892, a short story illustrating the psychological effects of confinement and the lack of autonomy for women. The Home, Its Work and Influence, 1903, a nonfiction exploration of women's roles and societal expectations. The Crux, 1910, a novel addressing issues of gender and citizenship through the story of women establishing a boarding house. Suffrage Songs and Verses, a collection of poems advocating for women's suffrage and rights. Gilman was a pioneering voice in feminist theory and sociology. She challenged the patriarchal structures of her time, advocating for women's economic independence and a rethinking of gender roles in society. Her ideas on the redefinition of the home and the need for communal living were particularly radical. While Gilman made significant contributions to women's rights, her views on race have been critiqued for their racism and eugenicist beliefs. She believed in the superiority of old-stock Americans and advocated for measures she thought could elevate the status of Black Americans, albeit through a paternalistic lens. Gilman's works often included advocacy for the humane treatment of animals. She argued against the domestication of animals and explored the connections between women's liberation and animal rights. Gilman's literary and social advocacy work reflects her commitment to equality and reform, making her a crucial figure in the early feminist movement. In 1932, Gilman was diagnosed with incurable breast cancer. A proponent of euthanasia, she died by suicide on August 17, 1935, choosing an overdose of chloroform to avoid suffering from cancer. In her final writings, she expressed her preference for this choice over a painful decline. Our Anthropology thanks Gilman for her efforts in women's rights, and we thank you the viewer for watching. We'll be back on Friday with another short biopic.